February 1959. 9 experienced hikers disappeared into the frozen Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia, and none of them ever returned alive. When rescuers finally found their camp, the tent had been cut open from the inside. Strange footprints stretched into the darkness, some of them completely barefoot, in temperatures below -30 degrees. The first bodies were discovered beneath a lonely pine tree, frozen where they had fallen. What investigators uncovered next would become one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in modern history. This is the true story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, a mystery that remains unsolved even today. Their journey began with excitement. As the train carried them deeper into the Soviet wilderness, nobody imagined they were traveling toward their final destination. This was the last village they would ever see. Beyond this point, only endless snow, freezing winds, and the unknown awaited them. Step by step, they disappeared into one of the harshest environments on Earth, completely unaware of what lay ahead. That evening, everything still felt normal. They laughed, shared stories, and prepared for another day in the mountains. But somewhere beyond the darkness, something was waiting, something no one could explain. The next morning, the expedition continued deeper into the mountains, unaware that history would soon remember them as the victims of one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries. They moved deeper into the frozen wilderness, leaving civilization far behind. Every decision could mean the difference between survival and death. The higher they climbed, the colder and more dangerous the mountain became. Yet none of them believed this expedition would end in tragedy. The storm grew stronger, hiding the mountains behind endless snow. Still, the team pressed forward without fear or hesitation. Their destination was now closer than ever before. One final mountain pass stood between them and success. Locals called it Kolat Sayakal, the mountain of the dead. Powerful winds tested every step they took. Then they made one decision that would change history forever. As night fell, none of them knew it would be their last peaceful evening. Another freezing morning began high in the Ural Mountains. Together, the team continued deeper into the endless white wilderness. Igor carefully studied the mountains ahead, searching for the safest route. One wrong step almost ended the expedition far too soon. For a brief moment, the mountains looked calm, almost peaceful. Their journals recorded another ordinary day, or so they believed. Even nature seemed strangely quiet around them. Then the mountain revealed its true power. Something felt different, but no one could explain why. They exchanged silent glances, and kept moving forward. The last sunlight faded behind the frozen peaks. Ahead of them waited a night that history would never forget. The storm was growing stronger with every passing hour. Even their compass could no longer guarantee the right direction. Soon, the mountain disappeared behind a wall of snow. Then, someone heard something carried by the freezing wind, but there was nothing visible anywhere around them. As night approached, they pitched their tent on the exposed slope. Inside, they tried to stay warm and keep their spirits alive. Outside, the blizzard continued to grow more violent. Then, strange sounds echoed through the darkness. Every conversation stopped. Everyone was listening. The mountain had become terrifyingly silent. Within hours, everything would change forever. Just after midnight, the atmosphere suddenly changed. Something outside caught everyone's attention. The storm was growing stronger with every passing minute. Outside, only endless snow and powerful winds remained. No one spoke, they simply watched and waited. The mountain felt different than it had before. One careful look outside raised even more questions. The group quietly discussed what to do next. The lonely tent stood against the frozen wilderness. Everyone prepared for a long and difficult night. Igor gave a silent signal, and the team understood. Before sunrise, history was about to take an unforgettable turn. As midnight settled over the mountain, the storm grew louder than ever before. Inside the tent, every hiker fell silent, listening to the powerful wind outside. The freezing gusts pushed against the canvas with incredible force, making sleep impossible. Igor looked around the tent, sensing that something outside wasn't quite right. Without wasting another second, one of the hikers reached for a small expedition knife. Then came a decision that would puzzle the world for decades. The tent was cut open from the inside. One by one, the hikers climbed out into the freezing darkness, leaving the safety of the tent behind. They stepped into the blizzard wearing only part of their winter clothing, with almost no equipment. Instead of returning, the group quietly moved down the snowy slope toward the dark forest below. Behind them, the lonely tent remained standing, filled with food, supplies, and unanswered questions. Only a line of footprints stretched across the snow, becoming the final silent clue they would leave behind. From that mysterious night onward, the Dyatlov Pass Incident became one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. When the storm finally passed, the mountain revealed a chilling scene. The expedition tent was still standing, but something was terribly wrong. Food, clothing, and personal belongings had all been left behind. A single trail of footprints led away into the frozen wilderness. Days later, search teams finally reached the campsite. Investigators immediately noticed something unusual. The cut in the tent had been made from the inside. Every clue pointed toward the dark forest below, but no one could explain why the hikers had left. The investigation had only just begun. Each new discovery raised even more questions, and the mystery grew deeper with every passing day. The search soon led investigators deep into the frozen forest. Beneath a massive cedar tree, they discovered the remains of a small fire. It became the first major clue in the investigation, but the questions only continued to grow. Broken branches high above the ground caught everyone's attention. Fresh tracks revealed the hikers hadn't stayed in one place. The trail continued deeper into the silent forest. Every new discovery made the mystery even harder to explain. Personal belongings appeared where no one expected them. Investigators struggled to understand what had happened that night. The frozen wilderness kept its secrets hidden, and the most shocking discoveries were still waiting to be found. Following the fading footprints, the search team moved deeper into the silent forest. Every step brought them closer to the truth hidden beneath the snow. Then, someone noticed something partially buried beneath the frozen ground. As rescuers carefully cleared away the snow, they made a heartbreaking discovery. The first two members of the Dyatlov expedition had finally been found. Near the remains of a small campfire, investigators realized the hikers had desperately tried to stay warm through the freezing night. But another strange detail immediately caught everyone's attention. Several large branches high above the cedar tree had been broken. It looked as though someone had climbed into the tree during those final desperate moments. The search continued across the frozen landscape, following every footprint and every possible clue. Soon, another member of the expedition was discovered beneath the snow, bringing even more questions than answers. Investigators carefully documented every footprint, every object, and every location they found. Instead of solving the mystery, each new discovery only made the case even more confusing. The frozen mountain remained silent, keeping the truth of that unforgettable night hidden beneath the snow. Following the trail back toward the mountain, the search team refused to give up. Then, another heartbreaking discovery emerged beneath the snow. It was Igor Dyatlov, the leader of the expedition. Every detail was carefully documented, but the mystery only grew deeper. Just a short distance away, rescuers found another member of the group. It was Zina Kolmogorova, lying silently in the frozen wilderness. The locations of the hikers suggested they had been trying to return to the tent. The search continued, and soon another figure appeared beneath the snow. Rustam Slobodin became the third member to be discovered on the mountainside. Investigators carefully compared every location, searching for a logical explanation. The pattern was becoming clearer, but the answers were still missing. For members of the expedition were still unaccounted for, and the mountain remained silent. Despite weeks of searching, for members of the expedition were still missing. Rescue teams searched every slope, every forest, and every frozen valley. But no matter where they looked, the mountain refused to give up its secrets. As winter continued, hope slowly began to fade. Weeks turned into months, and the search was forced to slow down. When spring finally arrived, the snow slowly began to melt. The rescue teams returned once again, determined to finish what they had started. This time, their attention focused on a deep ravine hidden beneath the melting snow. Small pieces of clothing suddenly appeared near the edge. Investigators immediately realized they were standing above something important. The entire search operation shifted toward the ravine. No one could have imagined what they were about to discover next. As the snow finally began to melt, the search returned to the mysterious ravine. Investigators carefully descended into the narrow icy valley below. Moments later, their search came to a sudden stop. Hidden beneath meters of snow, they discovered one of the 4 missing hikers. As the excavation continued, more shocking discoveries followed. At last, all 4 missing members of the Dyatlov expedition had been found, but the evidence surrounding them raised even more disturbing questions. Investigators carefully examined every detail, searching for answers. Nothing seemed to fit together in a logical way. The ravine had finally revealed its secret, but it also created an even greater mystery. What investigators discovered next would shock the entire Soviet Union. As the snow finally began to melt, the search returned to the mysterious ravine. Investigators carefully descended into the narrow icy valley below. Moments later, their search came to a sudden stop. Hidden beneath meters of snow, they discovered one of the 4 missing hikers. As the excavation continued, more shocking discoveries followed. At last, all 4 missing members of the Dyatlov expedition had been found, but the evidence surrounding them raised even more disturbing questions. Investigators carefully examined every detail, searching for answers. Nothing seemed to fit together in a logical way. The ravine had finally revealed its secret, but it also created an even greater mystery. What investigators discovered next would shock the entire Soviet Union. Back in the laboratory, investigators began examining every piece of evidence recovered from the mountain. The official reports revealed details no one had expected. Each discovery was carefully compared with the positions where the hikers had been found. Their clothing, equipment, and personal belongings were all examined in remarkable detail. Then the medical reports revealed something deeply unusual. Some injuries appeared extremely severe, yet there were surprisingly few external wounds. The forensic team struggled to explain how such injuries could have occurred. None of the available evidence pointed to a simple or obvious answer. As the investigation continued, confusion only continued to grow. Every report seemed to contradict the one before it. The investigators realized this was no ordinary mountain accident. The mystery was becoming even stranger, and the biggest questions were still unanswered. The official autopsy reports only made the mystery even more difficult to understand. Several findings simply didn't match what investigators expected from a normal mountain accident. Some hikers had suffered severe internal injuries despite showing very few external signs of trauma. Investigators compared every report, every photograph, and every piece of evidence again and again, yet no single explanation could account for every discovery. Night after night, the investigation continued without a clear answer. Even the recovered clothing raised new questions that investigators struggled to explain. The deeper they looked into the case, the stranger it became. Meanwhile, the silent mountain revealed nothing more. Eventually, parts of the investigation were marked as confidential. The case remained officially unresolved, surrounded by unanswered questions. And that uncertainty would fuel decades of speculation around the world. After months of investigation, Soviet authorities finally prepared their official conclusion. The report stated that the hikers had died because of an overwhelming natural force they were unable to overcome. But the report never explained what that mysterious force actually was. Many important documents were sealed, leaving countless questions unanswered. The investigation was officially closed, but public curiosity had only just begun. For years, the case remained hidden inside government archives. As decades passed, new generations became fascinated by the mystery. Researchers from around the world returned to the evidence, searching for answers. Yet the mountain itself remained exactly the same. Books, documentaries, and investigations continued to explore every possible explanation. Even today, Dyatlov Pass stands as a silent reminder of one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. But was the official explanation really the whole story, or was something still being hidden? For decades, scientists searched for a logical explanation behind the Dyatlov Pass tragedy. One of the most discussed theories involved a small but dangerous avalanche. Some researchers believe shifting snow may have forced the hikers to leave their tent in complete darkness. Others point toward powerful katabatic winds capable of creating extreme conditions within minutes. Historical weather data has been studied repeatedly in an attempt to understand that night. Another theory suggests that low-frequency infrasound may have triggered fear and panic. Although scientifically possible, no single theory explains every piece of evidence. Over the years, many other ideas have also been proposed. Researchers continue comparing modern science with the original Soviet investigation. Each theory answers some questions, but leaves others behind. Even after more than 60 years, experts still debate what truly happened. And perhaps, the mountain is still keeping one final secret. More than 6 decades later, investigators are still searching for the truth. Some believe a small avalanche triggered the tragedy. Others argue that powerful mountain winds created impossible conditions. Every theory explains part of the mystery, but none of them explains every piece of evidence. The official reports, photographs, and witness accounts continue to raise difficult questions. The mountain has remained unchanged since that winter night in 1959. Generations of researchers have returned, hoping to solve the mystery once and for all. Yet every new investigation reaches the same conclusion. Some answers may never be known. Dyatlov Pass remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. And perhaps, the truth disappeared into the snow forever. More than 60 years have passed since that unforgettable winter night. The mountain still stands exactly where it always has, silent, cold, and unchanged. Thousands of investigators, scientists, and historians have searched for answers. Yet no explanation has been able to solve every part of the mystery. What happened to the 9 hikers remains one of history's greatest unanswered questions. Perhaps nature alone holds the truth, or perhaps some secrets are simply never meant to be discovered. The Dyatlov Pass incident continues to inspire investigations around the world. Not because of fear, but because of the unanswered questions left behind. Sometimes history doesn't end with an explanation. Sometimes, it ends with silence. And somewhere beneath the endless snow of Dyatlov Pass, the final truth may still be waiting.